It's that time again. We're lucky enough to be on. It's Erik Nagel here on Sirius XM, Sirius 206, XM 103. If you want to give us a call, 866-969-1969 is the number to do so. I would say we're running on a skeleton crew, but that would mean we had somebody.
Right.
There's nobody here. It's one of those weird transition times. The interns don't start till next week. The previous interns had to go, and a lot of the hourly people are now doing football down the hallway.
Right.
College football and I think NASCAR. So we're here by ourselves.
Sure.
So there might be some times where Matt, OG, my co-host here, is filling, as we say in the business.
I could speak.
Means I'm running to the other studio to fire everything that we need to do.
There you go.
So there it is. So Matt, OG, is here at Geek Stuff OG on Twitter. I got it right this time.
You did.
Because I wrote it down.
Yeah, well, look, you're progressing, and that's important. You've learned how to write and take notes. These are good things.
All good things. 866-969-1969 is the phone number. Today on the show, we got a lot to get to.
We always have a lot to get to.
I was worried because it seemed like it was. Look, summer's over,
right,
technically. Entertainment-wise, they haven't really picked back up until another couple weeks, as far as television and movies and whatever.
Next week, I think, is when TV starts its rollout for new
some
seasons.
of them.
Yeah.
Like Fox doesn't start till October. But, we're in that weird lull where not a lot is happening, but we managed to find some stuff, and we'll get to that.
Sure.
I also am going to talk to Anthony and Joe Russo, if you're not familiar who they are. Directors.
Sure.
They're kind of a big deal in Hollywood.
Cap 2.
Cap 2. Cap 3.
Cap 3.
They work for Marvel and Disney. They'll never have to work again in their lives if they don't want to, and
That's right.
they'll get every passion project approved from here on forward. So we'll talk to them in a little bit. I found some audio. I didn't know this was a big deal. It may not be a big deal. I may have to make this into a consumer segment, if you will. But Dunkin' Donuts opened up in California for the first time, I think, in 30 years.
It's a big deal if you're in California.
And
or not.
There's some audio that somebody recorded out there about Californians talking about Dunkin' Donuts and what they think about people on the East Coast. So we have that and just a lot of shit here. Where do you want to start with?
Well, do you want to... We should talk about The Simpsons first, I think, because we talked a lot about it last time. And now
if you
we're kind of at the end of the marathon.
If you weren't following my Twitter, eRock Radio on Twitter and Instagram, we had a lot of stuff since we last talked to you to give away. We had the guys from NECA Toys in, and they were kind enough to bring in the new wave, which just came out, and all the new Simpsons figures for Wave 3, I believe. Gave those away. We included Bret the Hitman Hart, Penn and Teller, REM, still clueless about that.
Still clueless about REM? And
various other figures in the line there. And so they were nice enough to come in. We talked to them a little bit. The marathon was going on the FXX network.
Right.
Now, not everybody gets FXX, but there's enough to make for you to take notice that The Simpsons was on 24 hours a day for 12 days straight.
Right.
And it did very well.
It did. It actually pretty much made the network profitable, right? FXX used to be a soccer network
the
or
Fox
something like that?
The Fox Soccer Channel.
Right.
And they thought that was going to be big, and no.
Not so much. So the marathon did so well for them that they're bringing more Simpsons to it on a regular basis, and it got a lot of attention. I think it probably re-sparked a lot of people's interest in The Simpsons again if they sort of waned off a bit.
Yes and no.
No?
And I'll tell you why here.
Okay.
A lot of people were excited about this.
But...
Well, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
They were excited about this. FXX got the exclusive syndication rights or licensing rights for replaying. I don't know how that affects the Fox affiliates, because here in New York, at least, and I know LA, DC, some of those markets, they have it on whatever your local Fox affiliate is, or the UPN, whatever. Oh, it's called My. Well, in New York, it's My 9, but it might be My 36 in your market. That's also owned by Fox. And they would run those on various days, various times, like they would Seinfeld and Everybody Loves Raymond and things like that.
Sure.
I don't know if they have that anymore. They might not. I'm not 100% sure, but that's going to hurt a lot of the affiliates because everybody watched Seinfeld. Everybody watched The Simpsons. They don't have it anymore. It's only on this one network. They're doing 24 hours of Simpsons a week, 4 hours a night.
So what night is it not on then?
Wednesday, I think.
Okay.
So it's weird because they have their other program. They moved the league over there.
Okay.
And I think, they had Jim Jeffries' show, but they just canceled that for
whatever reason.
Who the fuck knows? It was a great show.
I was going to say, I thought that show was doing very well.
I don't know if they're moving Louis over there, But there's a couple other shows.
So they're trying to build.
They're trying to build it up.
That network.
Yeah, FX is doing great, so now they're trying to do FXX.
Sure.
With this weird stuff here. But anyway, the Simpsons Marathon did very well. Highest rated network in all of cable television for 3 of the 12 nights in all the key advertising demos. That's unheard of.
That's impressive.
That's very impressive. Yeah, like we said, they flipped the soccer channel over to FXX. And originally, I thought it was supposed to be a 24-hour Simpsons network. Remember, they announced it a long time ago that they were going to make a Simpsons channel. So I don't know what happened.
That would not... I don't think that would survive for very long as just the 24-hour Simpsons channel.
Well, they are doing it online through FX Now.
Yeah, right.
The app and the online streaming.
You'll have access to all the episodes, any episode you want, right?
Right,
it's
and you
be
can make
library.
I think if I was looking at it right, you can make your own playlist there.
Yeah.
But like Hulu and other things, you can watch the segment, then there's going to be like a 10, 20-second ad, and then it goes into the next thing there. I don't have it because it's not tied into Verizon Fios yet.
But so the app is based on your provider as well. You can't just like get the app separately.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I haven't looked into it that much.
I downloaded when they were running commercials for it during the marathon, and I downloaded it, and then it says select your cable provider, and I'm not there.
That's surprising. Cause
Cablevision, which is a big Northeast cable provider, wasn't on the list either.
Well, Cablevision is constantly fighting with networks over what content to carry and what channel they're going to drop this week, and no more Judge Judy for you people. That kind of nonsense. Cablevision fights with more than anybody, I think.
Well, anyway, the whole thing did very well. When the cable companies say that I'm allowed to watch it on FX now, I'm going to watch it.
Why is it not a good thing? Because we started off, I said I thought it was a good thing. People were going to get reinterested.
Because 3 of the 12 nights, it was across the board the most popular channel.
The early seasons
in cable television, right. But after we talked about the golden age, about season 12. Still doing very well, but was not number 1 status anymore because it got into all the weird
the Simpsons
seasons.
Snobs dropped off.
Right.
Right.
And I watched it, and look, I've seen every episode.
Okay.
Throughout my life, Sunday night, 8 o'clock, I've seen it. Certain point, I don't remember almost all of these new ones. So when it came on, I'm like, I don't remember this at all. So it was new to me. Sure. I enjoyed watching it, and they weren't that bad. I think people just got... it was a generational shift. They're like, oh, I don't watch it anymore, so it's not good.
I also think, in all honesty, even if you're the biggest Simpsons fan in the world, are you really going to watch it for 12 days?
I tried.
I know you tried.
I tried till I was blacking out.
But you're not the normal person.
No.
So, right, like the normal Simpsons fan, right? You're like an Uber fan. So like a normal Simpsons fan, a casual Simpsons fan, there's no way they're going to watch it for 12 days straight. I just don't see that happening.
I think they should do this every year.
Okay.
A marathon of this proportion every year.
For The Simpsons?
For The Simpsons. Just like they do The Twilight Zone and The Honeymooners for 4th of July and what is Honeymooners on Christmas or Thanksgiving or something
Twilight
like that?
Zone is like... It's like what, one night, right? Or it's a day and a half or something like that.
They do.
They don't do it for a week.
They do. No, they do like I think it's 2 or 3 days.
Do they do that? And do they run all of the episodes?
Well, the Honeymooners is only 39 episodes, so they go the whole day.
Right.
Twilight Zone has a lot more. I think they do that around 4th of July. I think the Sci-Fi Network now does it because locally in New York, I think it was Channel 11.
I thought that was like, I thought that was like just a selection of episodes. I didn't think it was all the episodes, and I didn't think it was that long. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Twilight Zone has a good archive of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know there's a number of episodes. I didn't think that the marathon was as big as you're saying it is. But
I feel bad. I have not really watched a lot of those key Twilight Zone episodes.
Like, are you just not interested, or I just never committed the time?
Yeah, I don't think I've committed the time to sit down and watch it. And I know they're all on Netflix now.
Sure.
And I don't know if I bought the box set or not. I may have it.
I don't even think it's a box set. It's multiple box sets.
Oh, really?
I believe so.
Okay, then I don't have it.
My recollection from working from when I worked at Suncoast years ago was that it was multiple volumes.
Okay.
Unless it's been re-released in a single collection, I'm not sure. But
so I want to watch all of them. And Lord knows The Simpsons has parodied a lot of them for the Treehouse of Horrors. I feel bad because people know those episodes. They're classic episodes, and I haven't seen.
Just do a quick
lot
Google
of them.
search for like top Twilight Zone
I'm
episodes.
feeling shame
and watch,
right now, Matt,
watch,
if you can't tell.
Well, you should have been feeling shame after you said Popeye was your favorite Robin Williams.
It was, and it still is. With Hook right there as number 2.
Hook is
but
a
I
good
think
one.
they should do that every year. That'd be great to have. End of summer, the 12 days, 13 days, because then they can keep adding years on. I think they're good for another 2 to 3 years. I think they signed.
Maybe it's just me because I'm not a huge Simpsons fan, but I think after like 1 or 2 times of that, it's going to get a little bit old. Maybe you bring it back every couple of years. It's like you make a big deal about it. You bring it back every 4 or 5 years or something like that.
Yeah. Well, tying in with The Simpsons here, we gave away a lot of stuff, and some people have been asking. Everything was sent.
Yes.
A couple people on Friday got their stuff, so they were tweeting it, so I'm retweeting it. Hit me up, eRock Radio on Twitter if you haven't gotten your thing yet. But I know everything was set out, and it was tracked.
Right.
So none of this, I didn't get it. No, it says you did. So It's all there. I did want to bring this up. I didn't get a chance to do it on the last show. Do you know who Mike Reese is?
Not really.
All right.
I know the name, but I couldn't tell you about him.
He's a former writer and showrunner for The Simpsons.
Okay.
And has been there for so many years. And he went on, and this was also interesting. I didn't realize Gilbert Gottfried had a podcast. Like every comic does have a podcast, but Gilbert just started doing one, and it's actually really good.
I don't know that I could listen to Gilbert Gottfried for that long, that consistently.
Well,
I'm just saying, I like him, but
I'll say there's a lot of talking on the guest's end.
Fair enough.
So, okay. So Gilbert Gottfried, amazing colossal podcast, and the artwork looks like an old Carney poster that you would find for the circus coming into town.
Right.
It looks pretty good. So we had Mike on, and Mike was talking about some of the stuff involved with The Simpsons here, and he told a couple of things that I don't know how this is really going to translate to anybody who's not really a Simpsons fan, but if you know of the show, you maybe find it interesting. I'm not 100% sure. But he said some things about the show and about the character development that I really had no idea, and I've been a fan of that show forever.
all right.
In this clip here, he's talking about Marge Simpson's hair.
There's so many things wrong. I can tell you about the early Simpsons. I'll give you... These are dark secrets that I can tell here, and they will remain dark secrets. Here's 2 secrets of The Simpsons. One is Marge has tall hair. Do you know why? You seem to know a bunch of things.
You got me stumped on that one.
Marge has tall hair because Matt Groening said in the last episode she's going to take off her hair, and we'll see she has long rabbit ears. And because Matt Groening used to write a cartoon about rabbits.
That's right.
Life in Hell.
So
Yeah.
Wow.
So Marge has rabbit ears. That was one of his
how
ideas.
strange.
Now I'm not making fun of Matt. We didn't know
Right.
anyone was going to watch. So
Sure.
that was as good as anything. Yeah, Marge. Here's our last episode. Marge is a rabbit. Okay. Thanks for watching. You thought the last Seinfeld was bad.
They had no confidence in the show. They were amazed it got picked up, and they thought it was going to end early. So they were just going to give you some bullshit ending and say, there's your ending, it's done.
I don't know that I could listen to Mike Reese much more either.
Annoying?
His voice could be worse than Gilbert's. I'm just that's my opinion. That was rough. But rabbit ears. Interesting.
Yes.
Matt Groening is a weird cat. So.
He is. But I heard...
But Hello Kitty, not a cat.
I heard he's coming to New York in some
Yes.
And if that's the case, I am going to track him down.
Of course.
And get him on this program.
I have a Matt Groening autograph on his Kid Robot figure.
How'd you get that?
I won it.
From?
Another podcast, Toy Break, that I listen to. And they know him from out in San Diego Comic-Con for years and years. Actually, I think he might have been on their show a couple times. And I won a signed Kid Robot Matt Groening Simpsons figure with his signature on it.
Well, I now hate you.
I know.
And I'm going to steal it from your house.
I have to find it first.
All right, I'll do one more clip here. Now, in the first season, if you weren't aware, Smithers was black.
Yes, I do remember
And then
that.
all of a sudden, he was white. And
Well, yellow, but yes.
Well, yellow. The white for The Simpsons. And they never explained it and just pretended it never happened.
Sure.
So here's the reasoning behind it.
The most profound change seemed to be that Smithers changed races.
Yes, Smithers was black. Oh, I got a good joke. Everybody.
Smithers was black?
The first season,
first one.
Smithers
First season.
was black, and it was when we saw the shows in color, we said, gee, this doesn't look right. We got one black character, and he's kissing up to his mean old white boss. And so we just went, poof, he's white. He's gay. This is how God does it, too.
And no mention at all that
Never.
the day before he was black
No.
and straight.
No. So Smithers is The first man in history to go from black and straight to white and gay. The second was Michael Jackson.
Who also appeared on the show.
There you go.
I just found it actually kind of funny.
If you want to check out the rest of the interview with Mike Reese, it's on Gilbert Gottfried's Amazing Colossal podcast. So there you go. So Simpsons Marathon was a success. The giveaways were a success.
Excellent.
Let's move away from the Simpsons as fast as we can right now.
Run.
See who else is listening to this show. We're going to talk to Anthony and Joe Russo in a few minutes about Captain America 2 coming out on Blu-ray and DVD on September 9th. And I have to ask them about Cap 3 and what they'll give away.
Of course, which I'm guessing is not much.
It was, it might be something, it may not.
Okay.
But let's just say what they didn't say might be saying a lot.
Saying a lot. All right, fair enough.
So we'll get to that in a moment here. Also, I'm going to talk to Thomas Malo in a little bit. He has a book out called Sentinel Event. Is that right? He's
nice.
Author, wrote a nice little, is it science fiction?
Technically, yeah.
Technically, yeah.
All right.
So we'll talk to him a little later in the program about his book. He's just hanging out here right now, hopefully not having regrets about booking on this show here.
It happens.
What else would you want to get to? Do you want to get into TV or do you want to do movies still?
You have a lot that you want to cover. I mean, you have Deadpool. I saw some people online on Twitter wanted to know why you had put Deadpool
in there
on the list of
I know,
topics you
I
wanted
threw
to
that
talk
on
about.
purpose. And here's why. 866-969-1969 if you want to call in. And we're going to talk about Deadpool.
Right,
and Shazam. And a couple other things.
I have a lot to say about Shazam.
The reason why I put Deadpool on there was about a month ago. I was going through one of the older shows.
Right.
And you were talking about the trailer that went out.
The footage.
With Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool.
Correct.
I had not seen it up until this recent break that we had.
Okay.
Very good.
Awesome.
Very funny. But it's not produced by a movie studio. Are they trying to get the movie made, and that's why they put that together?
Yes. So that actually was put together after that Wolverine movie in which Deadpool sort of appeared.
Sort of was there. The non-talking Deadpool.
Right. And but he wasn't really Deadpool, which you learn at the end of that movie. But anyway, it was weapon shit, whatever it was. But anyway, so there was a script for the film. Ryan Reynolds really wants to do it. And I think that he would be great to reprise that role as the actual Deadpool. And so they put that together years ago as sample footage to try to sell the movie.
Right.
And this movie has been just stuck in hell for years. I think because partially it was so poorly received and associated with that Wolverine movie that wasn't well received either. And so that
it wasn't Wolverine, it was X-Men 3.
No, it was Wolverine. It was the first Wolverine solo movie that he was in.
He wasn't in the third one?
No.
All right, I'm mistaken then.
No, it was
Shame
was it
on me.
Wolverine Origins, I guess was the name of that one?
Oh, you're right. It was.
Yeah. So, so that footage, I think that footage was leaked partially because they wanted to test the waters and see how people reacted to it. You know, the game, I think there was a video game that came out last year or 2 years ago, and everybody, a lot of people thought it was really good. A lot of people didn't like the gameplay and stuff like that. But at least as far as the character representation, it was very well received. And I think the footage was very well received. And Fox currently has an untitled project related to the X universe slated for sometime in 2018. Now, a lot of the speculation and rumor is that it's going to be an X-Force movie. And Deadpool is tied very closely to X-Force. And some people have said they think it's going to be a Deadpool movie. So I think either way, you'll see Deadpool back soon.
I found this article, and when I was talking to you about it, you said it's from a long time ago.
Yeah.
But is it still fair to say that Fox could still lose the rights to this?
Yes, Fox does have a finite amount of time to move forward with a Deadpool project. But I don't
Disney owning
know
Marvel, they're trying to get everything back.
Of course, they want everything back under their wheelhouse. But what I suspect is going to happen is that movie in 2018 that's going to come out is going to involve Deadpool in some way. Mm-hmm. So Fox will retain the rights for however long they retain it again. And it's either going to be a Deadpool solo movie. I think it's more likely going to be an X-Force movie, which Deadpool is part of.
What do you think the likelihood is that they don't do it and then Marvel gets it back?
No chance in hell.
No,
I don't think so. I think Fox really wants to develop the X franchises as much as they can, and Deadpool's a pretty significant character, I think, in that world. And
when are these contracts done with Fox? I know they had to do it because of Spider-Man.
I couldn't find the actual date. I'm guessing it's 2019, 2020, somewhere in that ballpark. Look, the next X-Men movie is coming out in 2017, 16, I think, the Apocalypse movie, and then 2018 would be the one after that. So clearly the rights are good through at least that. I do. I think it's going to be an X-Force movie, and I think Deadpool's going to be involved.
So
that's my thought.
When 2019 comes around, there's no way that, unless there's some kind of loophole in that contract, there's no way Marvel's going to re-sign with anybody else except Disney taking the property back.
Well, as long as Fox continues to make the movies, they'll hold on to the rights. That's why Sony rushed
Spider-Man.
Rushed the Spider-Man movies out, because they wanted to hold on to the rights. If they don't make the movie after a certain amount of time, they could lapse, right? Same thing happened with Fantastic Four.
But even if they do make the movie,
sure,
right? The contract can still expire at a certain point. They'd have to re-sign to make the other movies.
No, I'm not sure. I think there might be some legalese in there that as long as they continue to utilize the characters, they still have the rights to continue producing them. I don't think Marvel will ever get those characters back unless the X-Men movies start doing so terrible that Fox wants to dump it,
right,
and then Marvel eventually scoops it back up, which I think is what's going to happen with Fantastic Four, by the way. I think the next movie's going to tank. It'll end up back at Marvel in another 5 or 6 years, and then you'll see a better Fantastic Four movie. But I don't think the X movies will leave Fox ever. I think as long as Fox continues to put out movies that do well, Fox will have the rights for a while.
Now, if they do the Deadpool movie, do you think it could become this weird, unexpected hit like Guardians of the Galaxy?
Absolutely.
Because I didn't know much about Deadpool until that the Wolverine movie. And I still don't know a lot about it. Watched the Ryan Reynolds thing, and then it piqued my interest and started doing some research and looking back and seeing storylines and things like that. You think it will have the unexpected, oh my God, this is one of the best characters I've ever seen?
If they do it right. The only way you could do a Deadpool movie, which is the biggest problem that Fox has with greenlighting that movie, the only way to do a Deadpool movie and for it to be true to the character, and I think, quite honest with you, to be good, is you have to give it an R rating.
Right.
And an R rating on a comic book related movie, a lot of people think is like the worst thing that you can do.
Wasn't that Spawn's problem?
Spawn's problem was Spawn.
Yeah.
I mean, Spawn's problem was a lot of different things. I think the R rating was the least of its issues.
Okay.
So you can't do a PG Deadpool movie. You might as well not do it.
Right.
So they have to have the balls.
So it's going to have to be a really hard PG-13 in order to balance it out.
Or an R. They have to have the balls to do an R-rated movie, and I think they'll do fine.
I'll tell you, after watching that teaser, if they do that kind of humor where he's breaking the fourth wall, talking to you while the movie's going on, will really do well.
And it's amazing because it's not like R-rated movies don't do well in the box office.
Right.
Think of every horror movie, right? They all make good money. Now, granted, they're not making $500 million money. I understand that, but I think they could do an R-rated Deadpool movie and it would be pretty good. So
let's move off of Marvel then and go over to DC. There's some news coming from DC involving The Rock.
Yes, Black Adam.
He just did Hercules. Everybody... I don't know. Did everyone expect it to do well? I know the movie company did.
I think everybody kind of went to Hercules thinking that it was going to be sold solely on the premise that The Rock was in it, and hopefully that would make back enough money and maybe a little bit more. It'll probably do very well in DVD sales, what I suspect, but I don't think anybody had huge expectations for that movie.
Well, it didn't do well.
No, it did not.
I saw a lot of the media, both online and on television, and I didn't see much push on television for the movie, but online, tons. Like if you went to, there were little banner ads on websites and things relating to that, and The Rock was really heavy with his social media, showing that he was doing the world tour, the press junkets, all that stuff. And I wanted to go see it, and I didn't go see it. So I guess everybody else was the same way. It's like, I'd want to watch it, but I don't really want to go to the theater like I did Guardians of the Galaxy.
Correct.
Run out there and see it. Well, they just announced that he's going to be playing Black Adam in Shazam.
Correct.
Who is Black Adam?
Black Adam is the lead foe to Shazam.
Okay.
He's a character that's been around since the 40s. I think he was reinvented as like the Egyptian sort of taking that, the Scorpion King that he is now in the 70s, I believe. And I think it's a good character for The Rock. I think that The Rock has been teasing a DC character for quite some time, and everybody assumed it was going to be Black Adam because it makes sense. He looks like the character should be. The biggest problem that movie is going to have, in my opinion, is that DC, for some unknown fucking reason, just wants to continue to fragment their universe. So the movie is not going to be part of the Batman, Superman, Justice League universe, which is odd because Shazam kind of is an important part of the Justice League in the books for a while.
Well, for people who don't know, Matt, who is Shazam?
He's originally Captain Marvel. He's a kid who, now I'm not great on Shazam, so someone might call me out, but he's a kid who gets this amulet that, and it gives him powers, and he kind of becomes like this a superhero, and he's bullied. Billy Batson is his name. And again, I haven't read a ton of Shazam, but I know the character from reading Justice League, and I know him from the New 52 universe a little bit. But for some reason, DC is not putting this in that movie universe. They've given the movie to New Line Cinema. So they're fragmenting the universe again, which makes no sense to me. Because
you think they're just taking money wherever they can grab it right now?
But they own New Line. New Line is like an offshoot, smaller
Warner Brothers, right?
Right. Yeah. So to me, that's not really taking money from wherever they can get it. To me, it's just, I think one of the things we read or we've heard is that Shazam is going to have a different tone than the other DC movies. It's going to have a lighter tone, which I don't know how that works with the Shazam movie either. But for those of you who didn't hear, and I don't even know if you heard this, but like 2 weeks ago, there was a rumor that went around that DC has this no jokes rule for their DC, for their movies. So the Superman movie has to be serious. The Batman movies have to be serious. Justice League has to be serious, right? And a lot of people criticize that, saying where Marvel has excelled with taking a light approach, DC is going to fail with this dark approach.
You had told me too that the I guess the unspoken rule up until now was that DC, the characters were serious, but they were for the adults, and Marvel was the playground for as far as superheroes went.
Yeah,
they're not taking it seriously. We're treating this like this is a serious art,
right? But it's I don't even want to call it art. It's like sad Superman is sad, but why? He's supposed to be. He's kind of a light character, even though he's been through some shit. I don't understand it, but
he's very emo.
This fragmenting of their universe. So NBC has Constantine, Fox has Gotham, CW has Arrow and The Flash. They just announced a Supergirl show is coming out, but we don't know what network that's going to. New Line has Shazam, and Warner Brothers has these other movies. Like, why not try to do what Marvel does and make a nice little happy, cohesive universe?
They think they know what they're doing.
Well, they don't, because their movies aren't doing quite
They're not even
well
number
as Marvel.
2, and there's only 2 major companies making comic books.
I mean, their movies are not bringing in the kind of numbers that Marvel's bringing in. Just hands down, you can't argue with the numbers.
Let's go to Ray in Dallas. Ray, how are you?
Hey, Rocky guys. When you started on about every, sorry, there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about now.
Take a breath. Start over.
Sorry. On the TV shows, I really do think these are prequels, like, comic book number ones kind of thing. So in a way, the movies, like, they've already revealed that Superman is like the last comic book character to come out. So Batman, all these other characters have been around. Wonder Woman, Aquaman have been around, and the planet knows about it. And Superman's the last character to come out, and that's how they're starting off the film. And so if you think of it that way, and you look at Arrow and Diggle says, "Oh, next you're going to tell me that aliens exist," which means they don't know about Superman yet. So that would imply to me that all of the shows, Constantine, Gotham, The Flash, are all taking place years before the films are taking place. And I really do think Shazam is going to play into it, because I really do think they're building to the Trinity War.
Matt, you're shaking your head no. Why?
No, I disagree. First of all, Warner Brothers has already said that the shows on the CW are not part of the same universe as the films.
I know. Well, they haven't. They said that as of right now, and they haven't announced the new Flash yet. And a lot of people said, "Oh, you saw the rumors about the guy from Halt and Catch Fire. He had green socks on, and they said that he was supposed to be Jimmy Olsen with his legs blown off." But then a lot of people thought, "Oh, he might be the new Flash," so nobody knows who he's going to play exactly.
But if Marvel can't figure out how to bring multiple studios together to get Wolverine in an Avengers movie, how the hell is Warner Brothers going to get a character from Fox, a character from NBC, a character from New Line into a Warner Brothers movie? I think they're all separate.
But what if that's part of the deal? We don't know what the deals are.
Sure.
I mean, what if they set that up on purpose, telling NBC? Well, I mean, this is why I think Constantine, and they're also working on a J.L. Dark film with Guillermo del Toro, and he said that he even revealed like a year and a half ago that Warner Brothers is trying to do a film, trying to tie all the universes together, all the films and the TV series, and he said a Constantine TV show wouldn't affect the J.L. Dark, which implies to me that J.L. Dark takes place years before or years after, and the Constantine TV show is like Constantine #1 in a comic book series. So you're seeing how Constantine is birthed out, you know, how he plays out, and then you see him like 10, 15 years down the line, they could recast it, you know, whatever. Or if the character on TV works, they could probably, you know, get a cheaper deal.
You might be right, Ray, but I just don't see that as happening. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest with you.
All right, Ray, thank you for calling here. Douglas in New Hampshire wants to talk The Punisher for a quick second.
Yeah,
here.
go for it.
Doug.
Yeah, I was just wondering. I know there were 2 different Punisher movies. I don't know if does Marvel still own the Punisher?
I think Marvel does have the rights to the Punisher. I don't know that they're going to bring him back anytime soon, although, you know, he does have a potential future role in Captain America's storyline somewhere down the line, but whether or not they bring him back, I don't know.
I think at one point they have to, because his merch does sell very well. You still see a lot of people buying the toys and wearing those shirts.
Absolutely.
So
maybe.
just for that alone, they may say, look, we'll work him in somewhere just so they can put more merchandise out.
I like the Thomas Jane Punisher movie. I thought it was very good. So,
Thanks.
Thanks, Doug. Remember when we saw Thomas Jane at New York Comic Con looking all disheveled? It was before he started Hung.
Yeah, he was shopping for comic books.
He looked like a homeless guy. He had the gloves that were the fingers were ripped off. He had one of those old pork pie hats on and a trench coat with the collar up, and looking just like he was panhandling.
Yeah,
he was just checking out T-shirts.
Yeah,
so like, oh my God, it's Thomas Jane.
Yeah.
Hey, could we get a photo?
Yeah,
and then he wouldn't talk to us the rest of the con. Gavin in Canada. Gavin.
Hey, Erik. Yeah, I think Warner Brothers, they already shit the bed. Like, they had a chance to reboot their whole universe and keep it canon when the Dark Knight trilogy ended. And I think, like, this Superman and Batman movie, it's already looking like they don't have the same game plan of how they're going to be able to, like, we've already talked about this. How are they going to get them all together? They already shit the bed, I think, on setting a canon universe for their whole lineup. And they really aren't doing what Marvel's doing, even though Marvel subsidiaries are, you know, stuck in license battles with other studios. They're still trying to keep control of those characters through those licenses and overseeing them too, right? So I really wish DC would just get on board with this, because I mean they have such great characters that don't get the acclaim that they like Batman and Superman do.
DC is trying to take the easy pass lane. They're trying to fast track it to catch up to the Avengers. And I agree with you, Gavin. They're taking the wrong approach, and I don't think they're going to succeed where Marvel has.
No, I don't think they'll be able to get the steam rolling like like Marvel has. And I really would love to see if this one tanks. They just give it a few years and then do it right, do it properly.
We'll see. They've got like 6 or 7 movies already in the works, according to them. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. So, all right, good talking with you guys.
Take care, man.
Gavin, take care, man. DC's got a lot to catch up on.
Yes.
And they can't afford any failures right now.
Nope.
And I think they are going to have 1 or 2 clunkers.
I don't think Batman vs. Superman is going to be a failure, but I don't think it's going to do as well as they want it to be.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about other projects.
I'm afraid that not Avengers. I'm afraid that first Justice League movie, it's going to be sloppy.
It's going to be compared to the first Avengers, and they'll go, well, they didn't do this, they didn't do that.
We'll see.
So The Rock is going to be Black Adam and Shazam.
That's correct.
And we have to move back over to Marvel right now.
We do?
I got a chance to speak to Anthony and Joe Russo. They were the directors of Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier, which is coming out on Blu-ray and DVD Tuesday, September 9th. So you should definitely go out and get it. I got my copy, and I hadn't seen it in the theater. I don't know why I didn't go to the theater to see it. And then when I remembered it, it was already out.
Yeah.
But I watched it, and it's an amazing movie.
Cap 2 is fantastic.
And I looked at a lot of fan sites, if you want to go based on fan sites and blogs and polls. They rank all the Marvel movies, and it's consistently number 1 as the fan favorite of everything that Marvel has done, with Guardians of the Galaxy number 2, and then some polls going back and forth. So that's amazing.
It was a great movie.
So I got to talk to them, and then we tried to get some info about Cap 3. So here it is, Anthony and Joe Russo. Joining me on the phone right now is, can I call you the fabulous Russo brothers? Have you heard that term before?
We have not heard it before, but you are more than welcome to refer to us that way.
Well, I don't know if you were fans of like old school 80s WWF wrestling. They used to have the fabulous Rougeau brothers, but I think it fits in this case here.
It's close enough. We'll take it.
So you guys are here. You're promoting Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier on the Blu-ray here. Here's something really amazing about this movie. Depending on what website you go to, fan lists, experts, comic book guys, whatever, it's continuously rated the number 1 movie ranked out of all the Marvel movies. How does that feel?
It's great. It's very exciting. I mean, look, it was, it was a labor of love for us. We're comic book fanatics. I've been collecting since I was a kid. Cap's one of my, favorite characters from when I was a kid. So it's like a 30-year dream come true to be able to work on a movie like this. And we're excited that the passion translated and that, people love the interpretation of the character. And the tone and the level of action that we brought to the movie.
I mean, we were just when we came to this movie, we were very aware of just how high Marvel had set the bar with the work that they had been doing. We had been enormous fans of their movies, so it was like we knew we really had to deliver something special to be able to compete and belong in that company. So, we were just really grateful everything worked.
Now, you're also signed on to do the third one, which is amazing, and we'll get to that one in a little bit here. But with the Blu-ray that's coming out, what extra did you put on there? Maybe some stuff that you shot separately, or is there added scenes back into it? What's in there?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, we certainly have deleted scenes. We have, there's a lot of documentary footage of the shooting of the film.
We do a commentary with Marcus and McFeely, who wrote the movie, and it's we talk a lot about what went into everything in terms of making the film.
So there's a lot of behind the scenes tidbits, how we fight viz the movie, how we pre-viz the movie, tons and tons of extras. It's Marvel goes out of their way to make sure that their Blu-rays are packed with extra information for their fans.
Did they give it to you for free, or did you have to pay for it?
We don't have one yet. So can we tell you in like a week?
You'd be surprised how many people who are involved with certain projects, have their fingerprints all over it, and they don't get any of the simple things that you would think you would get for free. I talked to some of the writers from The Simpsons, and they would tell me they never once got the toys for the characters that they created or the storylines that they did. They had to buy every single thing they worked on.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, sadly.
You guys had an amazing history just getting to where you are right now as far as, I'm not going to say that it isn't skill, but you had some good luck with some of your early projects when Steven Soderbergh got you for Welcome to Collinwood.
Yeah.
And you got to work with George Clooney. How great was that?
It was fantastic. Clooney is truly one of the best people you will ever meet. Exceedingly charming, very fun, but also extremely loyal and really looks out for people. And he and Soderbergh took us under their wings. Soderbergh saw our first movie at a film festival in Park City called Slam Dance in 1997. Then he and George formed Section 8, and we were the first film that they brought in there to get produced. And then the way that we got the film made was George stepped up and took a role in the movie, which was really admirable of him, and now we have a career.
Now, I remember seeing that movie because it had some big names for a movie that came out of nowhere, like William H. Macy and George Clooney and Isaiah Washington from The Wire. And I watched it on DVD when it came out, but were you kind of surprised that it didn't do as well as you thought it would in the box office?
Well, it was, that movie was a little bit of an experiment in the sense that it was made at, Soderbergh and Clooney were making the first Ocean's 11 for Warner Brothers. So they were delivering to the studio a really sort of unique film and something, a type of a film with a lot of star power that only they could deliver, people like they could deliver. And so what they said was, Soderbergh has always had ambitions to work on smaller stuff as well as major stuff. And he told Warner Brothers basically he wanted to produce some smaller movies, and we were the first of the movies that he wanted to produce. So we were a little bit of an experiment in the Warner Brothers system in the sense that we were a very small movie that was made at a very big studio. And I think part of the problem with that film was in the release was, a big studio like that didn't necessarily know how to handle a small movie. And we, as a result, it just didn't have the run it could have had or maybe even should have had. But nonetheless, it's a movie we're really proud of and happy with.
Did this lead to Lucky, or was the following year, or was Lucky just totally a different project?
No, the way we got involved with Lucky is Kevin Riley was running FX at the time, and this was at the advent of risky cable television shows.
Right.
And they were looking for some independent filmmakers to come in and work on Lucky. Kevin and the Cullen brothers, who created the show, the Cullen brothers, not the Coen brothers, came in and sat in the edit bay and watched the cut of Collinwood before we had released the movie. and then asked us to direct the pilot of Lucky. And still one of our favorite pieces of material that we've worked on.
And I liked Lucky. I think it was the right show at the wrong time because FX was just starting to cut its teeth. But nowadays it would fit in great with a lineup like of Louis and Fargo and all. It would fit in perfectly.
You're right. That's the same thing we say, is that show was a couple of years ahead of its time. It's a very dark show, very, it's a comedic show, but the pilot ends with Corbett crying covered in blood.
Yeah.
After he's been robbed because he's trying to pay back his in-laws the money for a wedding ring, from his wife who died from an overdose. So it wasn't the cheeriest of comedies, but it was certainly avant-garde and cutting edge, really well executed. We thought the performances were really strong in the show, and by saying really well executed, I mean on a writing front. We thought that Cullens wrote a great script, and you're right. I just feel like it showed up a few years early for people to actually understand the tone of the show.
A wonderful cast too: John Corbett, Billy Gardell, and Craig Robinson. All
Were you a fan of John Corbett from Northern Exposure?
Oh yeah, big fan. Love the show.
You guys have the storybook career of where one project opens the door to so many other things, because you just said you did the pilot for Lucky, which attracted the attention of Ron Howard and then got you on board for Arrested Development.
Yeah, it's amazing how these things work. I mean, it's almost surreal or bizarre, but I mean, that pilot for Lucky, again, even though the show didn't work on air, it was very popular within the industry. Like, everybody watched that pilot, and we would take meeting after meeting about people that loved that pilot. And one of those meetings ended up being with Imagine, Ron Howard and Brian Grazer's company, and they were making Arrested Development at the time. And David Nevins, who was running the company for them at the time, basically, we met with him and Mitch, and that led to us making the pilot for Arrested Development.
And that won you an Emmy, which is amazing in and of itself, not just working on this show that would eventually become a cult classic. You won an Emmy for the pilot, but then you two were directing episodes individually.
Yeah, we would roll into, we've been directing together on features and pilots, but then when we got to episodes, we started going into an individual rotation. And initially why we did that was, the Directors Guild, while we were able, it's very hard to get a co-director status from the Directors Guild because they guard the idea of one director per project very strictly, because they don't want to set a precedent for people trying to chisel into the director's roles or trying to share credit. They don't want a powerful producer or a powerful actor being able to leverage in on a co-directing or something. So they have these very strict rules, and while we were able to qualify for to get approval to co-direct, when we got to episodes, they won't let you split DGA minimum, Directors Guild minimum. We would each have to be paid Directors Guild minimum, but the studio who is producing the TV shows, they typically, unless a show is a massive hit, they won't pay more than Directors Guild minimum for somebody to direct an episode. So we found ourselves in this interesting situation where we said, well, I guess we have to rotate on episodes, and it ended up working out really well for us.
Do you see any residuals from your work with Arrested Development?
It's that's one of those shows that it's one of those miraculous money losers. Even though
I think we actually got a bill from Fox where we owe them money.
So you weren't excited when they had the big rebirth on Netflix there?
Look, it certainly helps inch the show towards the black.
Some mythical profitability in the future, yeah.
But no, it's one of those shows that apparently was universally loved and critically acclaimed, but has yet to make a dollar.
I'm talking with Anthony and Joe Russo, the directors of Captain America 2 Winter Soldier. It's coming out here on Blu-ray. One thing that I noticed in your history, you're big MASH fans. I could have not been more excited when I read that.
Yeah. We grew up watching MASH with our parents every night for years. It was, every week that it was on for years, it was like an event. And so few people remember event television.
Right.
But, you used to have to, back in the day, turn on your TV when the show was on and sit down and watch it. Otherwise, you couldn't watch it.
How dare you?
So this was, so it was always a big deal for us to sit down and watch MASH, and we loved that show. And it ran for so long that it occupied such a an important aspect of, cultural aspect for us. We remember watching that show for many, many years.
I think that's key what you just said about watching it with your parents. It was more of your parents' show for people of our generation. That to the point where I didn't even know it ended because in New York it ran on Channel 5 so much that when I got older, I'm like, oh, I love this show. And then my dad tells me it ended like 6 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Captain America 2 on Blu-ray. That's what you're calling about here, which is fantastic. So much went into this movie. A lot of the Marvel movies do go over 2 hours there. How much did you shoot that you actually had to whittle out of the movie? And what do you think you took out that might have affected the story?
Well, look, while we've got a couple special scenes, that were deleted on the DVD, we spent a long time in development prepping the movie, and we worked very closely with Marcus and McFeely, the writers. And what happened was we by the time we got to shooting, we had a really tight script. So the final edit of the movie is unusually and remarkably similar to the shooting script. So there isn't a whole lot that we cut out of the movie, to be honest with you. Just simply because we had sort of cooked things up well. It was look, the movie was a huge opportunity for Joe and I.
Right.
We did not want to spend any resources on anything that wasn't going to be on the screen. So we were very, this is our history as like no budget indie filmmakers. We wanted to be very frugal and very smart about where we put the money. So we wanted a very tight script going into shooting. And, other than a couple really nice character beats, especially one between Scarlett Johansson and Sam Jackson, which is on the DVD, there isn't a whole lot that was cut out.
So you got to do everything that you set out to do with Captain America 2.
Yeah, we're very, very happy with how the process went, yeah.
I don't think there's any spoilers at this point as far as Captain America 2, unless you just haven't seen it, which, by the way, go out and buy the Blu-ray. There's a scene, there's stuff in the middle of the credits, stuff at the end of the credits, which all ties into the Marvel Universe. But there was a scene where you guys used the name Doctor Strange. Was that just a nod towards the fans, or is it tying into other things?
Well, we're guys who love Easter eggs. Not only do we love comic books, we've been collecting comic books since we were kids, but, we worked on shows like Arrested Development and Community where, it was our job every week to bury, pop culture Easter eggs in the shows, and our brains just think that way. So we had the opportunity to name drop some superheroes, and we were pushing for Doctor Strange to be one of them.
Right.
We knew that he was in the development slate at the time, and they said we could do it, so we did it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, then at the other end scene then with the twins, and I'm guessing they're going to be involved in the future Avenger movies, but do we maybe see them in Captain America 3?
We can't comment on any characters that might or may or may not appear in Captain America 3.
Gotcha.
Beyond Captain America.
So there's no point in asking about Hawkeye or Crossbones.
Who?
Yeah. Anthony and Joseph Russo, thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate it. Best of luck with Captain America 3. I'd like to talk to you again and then revisit this interview and tell me if Hawkeye and Crossbones is in this movie.
Okay, let's do that. Okay.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Yes, it's Erik Nagel. That is me, and joined by Matt OG, Geek Stuff OG on Twitter,
Yes,
Rock
sir.
Radio on Twitter, and I'm going to bring in right now a gentleman who has some O&A history that you may not be aware of here. Thomas Mello. Is it Mello? Am I saying that right?
It's Mello.
Mello?
Everybody fucks it up, so.
All right. Thomas Mello's here, and he's the author of the book Sentinel Event,
Yeah.
which has an interesting cover. You can get it on Amazon paperback, Kindle, and where other fine books are sold. Whatever's still left selling books.
Yeah.
All the shows.
Barnes & Noble still exists.
Shows. All the stores are, barely. Right? Aren't they?
No, but the other one, Borders, is the one that really went under. Barnes
No, I know
&
they
Noble,
went under,
think,
but I
is still
thought
around.
Barnes & Noble was also...
No, because they changed up their formula and they started selling toys and games and shit to help keep them afloat. But they're still around as far as I know.
Tom, as I was saying here, has some O&A history. You used to call into the Opie and Anthony show back in the NEW days and the early satellite days.
Yes.
What were you doing?
Ozzy Osbourne.
Yes, he was. I have a clip of it right here. Hold on.
Great.
Here it is.
We haven't heard from Ozzy on our new radio show. Ozzy!
Hey guys, how are you?
Pretty good, Ozzy. What's going on, man?
I'm fucking crazy this morning. I'm just trying to see who's the new president. I'm flipping through five channels. I had to ask my wife finally who is the president. I don't know what's going on, you know.
That is complete fucking nonsense, you know.
And then a year later, we became friends with the real Ozzy, and Tom was showing the door.
That's it. And we're done with you.
Tom, tell us about the book here, Sentinel Event. What is it?
All right, well, I'm following a Hollywood director. That's not too tough. But yeah, it's about a brilliant scientist. His name is Spencer Mason, and he is underemployed at his job and just burnt out, and his wife is trying to, get him to take a step back from the job, to, recharge the batteries so they could go on vacation. So they go on vacation, and lo and behold, certain strange things start to happen while they're on vacation. And he kind of has to work through if these things are actually taking place around him, or if it's kind of his paranoia, or if he's just, fried from the job. So that's basically the plot.
Well, so I don't know why I had my mic off for a moment there.
That's no good.
That's not very professional in the radio business. You kind of have to have that on there.
These things happen.
So this book, this is the first thing. Is this your first official book, or have you had a series of these books?
No, this is my first official book. Yeah.
What do you do for a living? If without giving the business away.
Well, I work at a hospital right now.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So
and
not the glitz and glam you would expect from some,
So you made the
books.
transition from that to author.
Yeah. Well, I was writing a cartoon, that I also have a clip for you for if we have time. But, and in the interim, after I finished, I wrote about 39 half-hour scripts for it. I realized I enjoyed writing, and I had an idea for a book, so I took a shot. And
how's it doing so far? It's been out for a little bit now.
Yeah, it's doing well. It does better when you get to promote it.
Right.
It's not just social media, but it's it has some legs.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very
cool. Now I wanted to talk to you about, because he has the book, but I wanted to talk about the cartoon that you had.
Yeah, it's called KCTV, and it's basically about a cable access station and a really prick boss, and he has these a really pissed off crew of people working for him, and they all have their quirks and everything. And the main character, he befriends like this hard rock band, and it's the mix of those two worlds, and they get into a lot of shit.
All right, where do you find this online? You said it's on YouTube?
Yeah, it's there. We have one. We're making a bunch of shorts for presentation purposes, but right now we have one called Ed's Special Delivery. That's all you have to type into YouTube. Ed's Special Delivery, and don't you dare forget that apostrophe, because that's important.
Wow.
Well, a lot of people aren't that tech savvy,
They don't
so
even know
they're
what
going
an apostrophe is.
ED. Now fuck this. I'm not doing it.
And my buddy, I just wanted to say real quick that my buddy Sonny Angel at sonnyangel.com, SONNYANGELL, was the one that did the really great animation on it. And
so you only have one of these done so far? Two?
Just one so far. Unfortunately, Sonny's doing the work of an entire animation team. Yeah, so it
like
takes,
we're doing here today. We're running out of time, and I'm running between studios trying to get everything done here. So you have the cartoon, and you're shopping that around. Any interest? Does it look like it's going to surface somewhere?
Well, I'm going to wait until we have a couple more clips ready for presentation. I want to just go with one clip. So we have about 5 or 6 on the list. I'll probably start shopping around after we do like 2 more.
Okay,
very cool.
So
Thomas Mello, sorry. Sentinel Event. You can get it on Amazon paperback, on Kindle. How are the Kindle sales doing?
Excellent. Better than
the actual
paperback so far. Yeah.
Well, that's the way of the world now, all digital.
Technology.
So it's on Amazon. You can get the paperback and Kindle, and it's also sold in whatever remaining bookstores there are there. Yeah. Do you have a Twitter, website, anybody can follow you?
I'm on Facebook, Thomas Mello, THOMAS, Mello. I have a really douchey selfie up there right now with aviator glasses and spiked hair.
You got to get yourself on the Twitter.
All the
kids are doing it.
I tried it. I find it absolutely fucking useless.
Listen, if you use it for only purposes of Eric retweeting your promotions of the book,
You're right.
then it'll do well for you.
You're right. Well,
Well, go out and get that book. Tom, thank you for coming
Please
in.
do.
And I would say hi to your wife, Heather, who is sitting in the corner of the studio. We went to high school together.
Yeah.
And she wrote, could you have my house? Yeah, sure. Why not?
Sure, fine.
So,
I didn't grovel, people. Don't listen to her.
E-Rock Radio on Twitter and Instagram is for me. Matt, where do they find you?
They could find me at GeekStuffOG on Twitter. And, of course, you can check me out at BigKevsGeekStuff.com each and every week for our podcast. And if you're going to New York Comic Con, booth 127 at New York Comic Con, we'll be there this year with our own booth. So come and check us out.
What we didn't get to talk about today, but we'll have to do next time, is the resurgence of canceled television shows.
Yes.
The Tick is making a comeback.
Maybe.
Also, I wanted to talk about The Greatest American Hero, which I have a fondness for as a kid when I watched it. We'll get to that next time, but I figure we'll end the show like this. There's some audio that somebody recorded out there about Californians talking about Dunkin' Donuts and what they think about people on the East Coast. So we have that and just a lot of shit here. Where do you want to start with?
Well, do you want to... We should talk about The Simpsons first, I think, because we talked a lot about it last time.
And
now
if you
we're
weren't
kind of at the end of the marathon.
if you weren't following my Twitter, E-Rock Radio on Twitter and Instagram, we had a lot of stuff since we last talked to you to give away. We had the guys from NECA Toys in, and they were kind enough to bring in the new wave, which just came out, and all the new Simpsons figures for Wave 3, I believe. Gave those away. We included Bret the Hitman Hart, Penn and Teller, REM, still clueless about that.
About REM?
And various other figures in the line there. And so they were nice enough to come in. We talked to them a little bit. The marathon was going on the FXX network.
Right.
Now, not everybody gets FXX, but there's enough to make for you to take notice that The Simpsons was on 24 hours a day for 12 days straight.
Right.
And it did very well.
It did. It